Well, today we were at a very important site, especially in medieval history, early medieval history, and actually a little bit earlier than that as well. And we're at a town called Wallingford in Oxfordshire. So it's on the River Thames, which I will just spin around. So the Thames runs along in that tree line just ahead of us over there. Now Wallingford is important because just down there there's a ford, and it's actually one of the earliest bridging points. According to William of Poitiers, William the Conqueror's chronicler, this is where Julius Caesar first crosses the Thames with his army in 55 BC. We're now going to jump a lot further ahead. It's important here, as you can see here, there's severe, rather large earthworks having gone on. This is the outer section of the castle defence, and it's actually part of the Anglo-Saxon Burh that was here in the first place, and that's why I'm actually here today looking at the Burh site more than anything else. But I'll give you a brief overview of the whole site as we go round. So the Burh is important here. It's one of the burghs of Wessex, which are Alfred the Great and his son Edward the Elder, as they start to reconquer. First of all, consolidate power in Wessex, and then push back against the Vikings' Great Heathen Army assaults. Wallingford is unique in this section. It's one of the ones that defends the North Wessex border, what I call the Wessex Warp. It starts off, you've got the first one at Southwark, then you've got one at Sashes, then here at Wallingford there's also one at Cricklade, and then one at Malmesbury. So if you look at them on the map, it's almost a straight line of burghs every sort of 20 to 30 miles, which was one of the key features of the burgh system. Each one was no further than a day's walk from each other, or from the middle point it was neither a day's walk either way. So that's why here. Now the reason why this one is important, because if you imagine the Thames snaking its way across England, at this point it is kind of running north-south, so it does make it a little bit confusing as about what I'm going to say, but it's on what I would call the north bank. And that means that this is actually on the Mercian bank, not the Wessex bank. So that is why I believe this is actually a starting pad, a launch pad for the reconquest of Mercia. Because otherwise, if they put it on the other side, there wasn't much here before this was built. So it's not like, as I'm standing in the castle, the later castle grounds that were built in this section of the Burh. It's not likely that there's something already in existence here that they can make use of, which was a common Norman feature. We look at the likes of places like Pevensey and Porchester and the Tower of London. It's great examples. Canterbury as well, of great examples of where that Normans will come off inside existing walls, and that's what they're doing here. Even though it's an earthen empire, it may have been topped early on with a palisade. Probably by the time the Normans get here, it probably is a stone wall on the top of the rampart, but they are here. There's possibly an ancient hill fort here before, but it's certainly predominantly a Saxon site. So that's why I believe that rather than placing it on the other side, which would make the more logical sense in terms of that's the side that you're protecting, that's the border, and it gives you the protection of the river, whereas now the river's at your back, and all military doctrine says that you do not put any fortifications of the river to the back, that you build the river as part of your defensive force, as we see in places, other burgher places, especially on the Severn, such as Bridgnorth and Shrewsbury. Here, it doesn't fit the standardised landscape defence system as you find in other places that we tend to look at in terms of the burgher system. So that's why I say this is very important. Now we jump on then to 1066, and why is William here? Well, William here is here because his first attempt to take London from the south across London Bridge has been repulsed, and he's now taking a large arc around the countryside, burning away at anything that he can have hands on. Basically saying to the Saxon army, the defeated Saxon army from Hastings, not quite defeated yet, they've attempted to crown another king in Agathlin after Harold's death. Now Sir William has come here because this is where, again, the fall. By the time the Norman conquest is also breached, he's bringing the army across by fort and by bridge. It's going to get across in twice as quick a time. And he comes here, fortifies settlement, gets inside, puts his position up. The castle here, they believe, is built in 1067. That's probably I would suggest that is when work starts on the stone castle here. Most likely there will be a Motte and Bailey castle thrown up, similar like we see at Pevensey, at Dover and all these other places. Within hours of them arriving, the work would begin. And it's here, whilst William is here, that Archbishop Stig and the Archbishop of Canterbury, one of the key instigators in the crowning of Harold over William in the first place, and the Grand rides out and submits to William. He knows the game's up. We know Stephen is a little bit of a slippery character, really, to be honest, can't be trusted, and so as a result he rides out to here and he puts up he submits and says, yes William, you are now our king. At that point, now he's also just trying to save himself, but then this Wallingford then slips from the record, the big castle's built, and it eventually returns during the time of the anarchy. Now this is where Queen Matilda, when she makes a desperate escape from, and I can't remember at the moment which castle it was, and she rides across country, this is her support, this is her major base, and where she comes to, after she slips out of the castle in the white dress in the snow. It's also very important because at the end of the anarchy, this is the site of the surrender of Stephen and the signing of the heirship from Stephen Downson to Henry, who will become Henry II, Henry of Anjou, Henry Plantagenet, and the beginning of the Plantagenet dynasty is signed here. So that's a brief overview of the medieval history and what would have been known. And if I've got enough battery life left, I will continue showing you some more interesting stuff as I come across it. Okay, so as I was discussing the previous section, I'm only here looking at the Anglo-Saxon defences, so you can just see this line that just goes up, and there's the trees all around this park, and that is it completely covered. Now when you get up there, all around it's the curve, it's the top corner of the settlement, and when we get up there, hopefully you can better see down, and then there's the big ditch the other side. And so Wallingford has actually been described as being the most complete Anglo-Saxon borough still in existence in terms of its defences. The layout within inside the town is, but also apart from these two parts that just come through, which thankfully have made the defences intact, but you can really get a sense of what it was like, the street plan, etc. So yep, here we go. So you can see down here the actual defences. You've got the ditch, you've got the bank. Okay, it's not quite as high here inside, so I don't know whether that's been refilled or whether or not it's just once over the lip, because obviously you're not defending that way, you're defending this way. But yeah, certainly a significant height here.